2025 just feels different. There's something about the energy in the air, or I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the combination of numbers, but it really feels like this is the year. And if you're feeling that way, well, you probably are if you're watching this, then I'm going to share with you today some of the things I learned in 2024 and what I'm trying to do going into 2025 that's going to increase my chances of winning. I've got no subs on this channel, so I'm really just recording this for myself and just to record and reflect on my progress, because when I inevitably do blow up, I guess it will help other people as well. I mean, it's literally around 9 p.m. December 31st. I should be out, I guess, celebrating, but I'm sitting here recording this, so surely I'll win next year. So I've had a pretty good year in terms of growth in 2024. I started my show, which just started as an idea. This time last year, I didn't even have the idea to have a show. It was in January 2024. I decided that I wanted to have a show on YouTube, and yeah, I mean, we're 3 solid episodes in with amazing guests, and it's only going to get bigger and better. So my intentions for 2025 is to double down on that. I have a brand/page called Untethered, and it's almost at 100k followers, which is cool. My email list has reached over 10,000 subscribers. So really now I'm at the point where I can kind of coast a little bit, but actually I feel more compelled than ever to put my foot on the pedal and to continue accelerating and growing to the next level. So as we go into the new year, I want to reflect on the year that I've just had and share with you some of the lessons that I wrote down and some of the intentions I've set for 2025 that you can put into practice as well. So one of my first pieces of advice is to find what feels like play to you but work to others. That's one thing that Naval said, and he repeats it over and over in his book, and it's something I repeat a lot to my followers as well. Because when you find something that feels like play, then you're going to be obsessed with it. You're going to want to do it over doing anything else. That's why I'm sitting here recording content at 9 p.m. on a NYE when I could be out partying. And that's how you develop an edge over other people. So to find what feels like play to you, ask yourself, where do you obsess? What are the details that you notice but everyone else seems to ignore? Because once you find that thing that you can do for a decade, then you'll be unbeatable, and you won't be worrying about competition, you won't be worrying about procrastination or all the other things that other people struggle with, because it will just feel like a game to you. So in 2025, you want to actually play more. Alright, secondly, read more books if you can. For some reason, there's this stigma that people think that you can get the same sort of information from podcasts or talking to people or, I don't know, book summaries, but in reality, the habit of reading is one of the best things that you'll ever develop. I've read over 40 books this year, and obviously it's not necessarily about collecting information, it's about what you do with it, but also the practice of reading itself. It's like the anti-vision of scrolling. When you're scrolling on Reels or TikTok, you're getting quick and instant dopamine, but when you're reading a book or page of a book, you'll probably come to find that you'll get to the end of the page and you'll realize, what did I just read? I need to go back and read it again. So it takes some time to get rid of that TikTok brain rot, but you'll thank yourself later if you do. So not only does it fix your attention span, but also fixes your focus and lets you consume information in a more healthy way. For me, reading is all about sparking new ideas in my mind. It's not necessarily about collecting new ideas, but once you read enough from different areas, then you'll start to make the connections in your mind from one area to another. And by the way, if you want my free reading list, 88 books that will transform your life, then just click the link in the bio below. It's literally free, 88 books that I've read over a lifetime, well, across a decade, that have literally transformed the way I think and the way I see the world. And quickly on the point of books, I think it's important that you find a few good books and reread them over and over again, rather than 50 on the same topic. The thing about books is you'll probably find the same message in all of them, because I don't believe there is such thing as a new idea. However, whatever you're compelled to pick up, then you should read. Because the way that author has experienced that same idea and that same message, and they've encapsulated it in a way that probably would appeal to you, is on purpose. Like if you look at all the books on spirituality and manifestation, of course they're all remixes of the ancient scriptures and the ancient religious texts that all say the same thing. But maybe a modern day translation makes more sense to you than something from back then. So it's important to keep in mind what kind of books you're reading and where the original message may come from. Third thing would be to understand the importance of a North Star. You'll even see it's tattooed on my finger here if you can really see it. But essentially having a North Star and having your vision anchored to something will give you direction. It will help you feel less aimless. It will help you feel less like you're floating about and being taken by the winds of life, and more like you're in control and you're in the driver's seat. I have this thing that I say on my page that if you don't design your life, it will be designed for you. And that's the truth. The world is happy to create a life for you. It will happily put you into a job that you don't like. It will happily create another taxpayer in the country, and then it will give you the illusion of happiness with the paycheck, and then you'll use that paycheck to again delude yourself into thinking that you're fulfilled and happy by, you know, buying a car and a house and getting trapped in this cycle of liabilities. But The truth is, if you actually take the time out to set your intention going into the new year and really think about what it is you want, then you'll know exactly what it is you want to say yes to and what you want to say no to, more importantly. I feel like people are quick to say yes to opportunities just because they think it's going to take them out of the situation that they're in. The truth is, not every opportunity that comes into your life is going to be a good one for you. It's actually going to deviate you from your path most times. So taking the time to really set an intention and think about what it is you want out of the year. I'm not saying you have to have these crazy career ambitions like I do. Maybe it can mean getting married, maybe it can mean securing a certain role in your job. But my point is, without ambition and without a North Star that's anchoring our action, we tend to become a lot more aimless, and this is where procrastination enters. And then you fall down this vicious loop and this vicious cycle. If you have nothing to build and you have nothing that you're doing it for, then of course you're going to fall off track. And falling off track happens to everyone. But if you have a North Star, then it's much easier to recenter yourself and get back on. You only have to remind yourself of why you started in the first place. So that segues nicely into the next point, which is do this in service of something higher. Whatever it is that you're pursuing, whatever it is you're building, whether you're an entrepreneur, creative, or a professional, do it in service of something higher than yourself. Because once you do, then you have something else to hold you accountable. For me, the following that I'm building is the community that I rely on, and I know that they rely on my content as well. And beyond that as well, I do it in service of God. I feel like my connection to the divine has strengthened this year, maybe because I've been researching a lot more into the exploration of God and exploration of what it means, what spirituality really means. But you might not want to do it for that. You might want to do it for your parents. You might want to do it for your friends or your partner. Point is, build for someone outside of yourself as well. And I guarantee you your progress and your drive and your ambition will be much stronger. So talking about spirituality, I feel like 2024 was a great year for, like I said, strengthening my connection with the divine and increasing my spiritual aura, call it. There's a lot of practices I picked up that have definitely helped me feel more fulfilled and energetic throughout the day, such as meditation. I feel like this is something that needs to be put into practice for 2025 for everyone that's watching this. And I'm not saying that you have to sit there for 25 minutes like a monk and go into the mountains and get sunlight exposure like Huberman says in the morning. All those things are great. I'm all for biohacking, but honestly, do the simple things and do them as simply as possible. If you sleep right and then you get the right inputs through your food and then you create the right outputs through your training or your work, then that's all you really need. I think meditation is great because it allows you to create distance between you and your thoughts. And what I mean by that is that you are the observer of your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Their thoughts are not even yours to begin with. And the more you understand this, the more you create this distance, then the more easily you can observe them and detach from them completely. Otherwise, you enter this spiral and this chaotic train of thought that essentially paralyzes you in action. So yeah, my advice in 2025 would be, even if it's just 2 minutes in the morning, make time for intentional stillness. You don't necessarily have to be sitting down to do this. You can go for a walk, you can go for a drive. But essentially, when you engage your mind in an act of intentional stillness, what you do is you create space in your mind for the solutions to appear. The problems move to the back of your mind because you're not actively thinking about them, and you're literally creating space for these solutions to come to you. Haven't you ever wondered why the best ideas come to you when you're walking, driving, or in the shower? Exactly that is happening. So some things I want to leave in 2024, one of them being releasing expectations. I feel like, what's that saying? Expectation is the mother of all disappointment. And it's true. Or is it the other way around? But yeah, it's true. Every time I've set a creative project or I've worked really hard on something and, it's not got the results that I wanted, then that has been because of my poor expectations. It's a reflection of my poor expectations. Hormozi said that things are always going to be harder than you think. It's going to take longer than you think, and it's going to cost more than you think. And it's good to remind yourself of that, and good to remind yourself of the fact that you think you're better than you are. And I'm not saying that in a pessimistic way, but I'm saying that because sometimes it's very easy to be caught up in other people's compliments, in other people's perception of you, when in reality, you probably still have a lot of work to do. So yeah, my goal for 2025 is to release expectations, which means any project I do from now on, I'm only committed to the process and committed to the actual making of it. And then once it's out there, it's no longer mine, and I can't control perception of it. Those things will come naturally as a byproduct of the work if it's actually good. It reminds me of this verse in some of the Hindu scriptures that I reference quite a lot, and it's that you're only ever entitled to the labor and never to the fruits of your work, which basically means you only really have the work. And it's your duty to do that work. Anything beyond that is a reflection of your expectations. Whatever you think it is you deserve is probably just a sense of entitlement. Again, remember, I'm making this for myself, so if you feel offended, don't. It's literally just a reminder to me. Another important lesson I learned in 2024 that I want to take into 2025 is the power of oversimplification. Steve Jobs used to have this mantra, and I heard it on the Founders podcast, where it's one single idea, one message expressed clearly per ad. That was his mantra at Apple, and every single creative ad that they had to follow that rule. And for me, it makes a lot of sense. The further you get away from this idea of one, the more unnecessary complication you invite into your life. You know, James Clear describes it as a chain, and every link in the chain is a potential breaking point for failure. So the less links, the better. Think about an area of your life you can simplify, whether it's your business, whether it's your career, your relationships, even your health. Like I said, all of those biohacking tips are amazing, but if you just did the basic for your health, which is 10,000 steps a day, you ate right, you slept right, you drank enough water, then you'll still probably be in the top 1% of people your age. Something I think is super important is the power of systems. Building systems in your life, in your business, in whatever it is you're doing is going to help you create consistency. Wherever you see consistency in someone's life, understand that there is a system behind it. So do an audit of your life and think about the things that you do every day, the things that are necessary for the output of your business or your creative career or whatever. And try and think about how a system would help this. For example, with my content, I have a very specific content system that helps me output 10 times more content than a normal person would. And that's why I've been so consistent over the year, and I feel like that's why I have grown so much. Next point is golden handcuffs. Beware of the golden handcuffs. So the moment you start to win or the moment you start to do well, you'll be showered with praise, and what happens is your attention will start to shift from the goal. You'll start to become accustomed to that praise and you'll start to rely on it, and that will validate your self-worth. But I'm telling you now, that is a super dangerous game. Don't outsource your self-worth to other people, and never let the noise distract you from the work, from why you started it in the first place. It's amazing to receive positive comments, don't get me wrong, but the more you attach yourself to these positive comments and these even negative comments, the more you begin to outsource your self-worth. So for me, I had a few viral videos this year with the interview with Luke Belmar, the one with Hamza, and obviously all these mini short form ones on TikTok and Instagram. And again, I get a lot of positive comments, but I also get a lot of negative comments. And one thing I've learned to do is create an impenetrable fortress and not really care about what they have to say, good or bad, and not in a bad way. I'm saying I really accept the positive comments that come my way, but I don't let it inflate my ego. And same way with the negative comments, I don't take them to heart either. So when you inevitably start to win in 2025, beware of this. Trust your intuition. Knowing you're meant for more and not doing more will drive an ambitious person insane. The longer you bundle up inside what it is you know you need to do, the louder that voice is going to get. It starts as a whisper and ends as a scream. You know, there's one thing that Jeff Bezos said in an interview recently that stuck with me. He said, "I wake up and I follow my curiosity." And to me, that tells me everything I need to know. There's a billionaire, a literal billionaire, telling you that your curiosity, your intuition is the best navigation system that you have for life, and it's inbuilt in you already. So let curiosity take the driver's seat, because it probably knows more than you do. Related to what I was saying earlier, learn to say no more, because there's this thing called the opportunity paradox. Essentially, it's that winning doesn't come from saying yes to everything that comes your way. It comes from deep focus on the projects that actually matter. Understand that there's a trade-off in life for everything that you want. So you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to trade off in exchange for what it is you want? The more you sacrifice, the more it is you're probably going to get back. Coming to a close now, I just want to remind you that mastery is repetition. So remember that every single rep that you do, every single video that you put out, every single business that you start is just a rep in the right direction. Repetition is an opportunity to know yourself and know your craft at its deepest level. And you create an edge by doing it 10,000 times over, which will allow you to study the intricacies of this thing that no one else can seem to see. I used this example earlier this year about a layer of paint. So if you imagine what a layer of paint looks like and how thick a layer of paint is, it's only a couple of millimeters. And understand that every attempt of whatever it is you're doing is just another stroke of a layer of paint. And in order to win, you need to build a mountain of paint. So think about how big a mountain of paint is. How many strokes would that take? And if you're watching this, don't listen to hustle culture too much. You have to find what works for you. I'm not saying that you need to rest 9 hours of the day, but there's this thing about working like a lion, where they work in intense sprints and then they rest for the rest of the day. But in that intense sprint is when they get all their food, is when they get all of the work that they need to get done. So for me, I found my optimal working hours is 5 to 6 hours a day, and then I start to lose focus, and then I can take a break, I can go and train and come back, and then in the evening I can do much lighter tasks like recording content. Understand, as humans, in order to operate efficiently, we need good output and good input. So make sure you move, make sure you breathe, write, get sunlight, sprint, saunas. Basically, you can't kill thinking with thinking. You need very specific inputs and outputs to transform your circumstances. So a message to myself as well in 2025 is make more time for intentional rest, because I really could do this all day, but I don't think it's actually the healthiest thing. So yeah, if you're still watching this, 2025 is definitely going to be your year. As long as you put some of these things into practice and you hold yourself accountable, you do the basic things and you just focus on the work. I feel like there's a lot of noise when it comes to what to do and what not to do. And maybe that's the reason you clicked on this video. But I'm actually trying to create something a little different. I want to create some public commitments as well that will help me hold myself accountable. So for the sake of just recording and building in public, this time next year, December 2025, I want to have at least 8 to 10 good episodes of my show filmed in different locations with amazing guests and in amazing locations. I want to have at least doubled my audience size and growth, if not more. I feel like financially it will be the best year as well. I understand in this game it's nothing for a long time and everything all at once. So let's hope that 2025 is that all at once. Either way, I'm going to continue putting out content that I feel impacts people and helps people. I get tons of messages, DMs, emails, and people even got tattoos of my logo and whatnot, which is crazy. So I must be doing something right. I guess what I'm saying is now is an opportunity to double down, because I feel like if you don't now, then you're going to regret it. So whatever it is you're working on, make sure you continue showing up even after this New Year's motivation fades away, because 12 months from now you want to be able to look back and say that this was one of the best years of my life. I think that once it clicks in your mind that you are in control and you have been in control the entire time, then that sense of urgency doesn't seem to fade away. So with that being said, if you're still watching this, if anyone is watching this, then leave in the comments below some of your New Year's resolutions for 2025 or for whenever you're watching this, whatever year it is. I'll be interested to know, and it'll be cool to revisit in a year from now to see if you actually achieved them. So I hope you have a great new year. Hope you have a great 2025, and be sure to subscribe to my main channel where I'll be posting a lot more cinematic short film content, as well as YouTube videos that are going to help you generally, and my show, of course. Join my free newsletter below where I'll send you weekly wisdom like this that's actually going to help you, free tools and resources like a reverse engineering goal setting system, an annual review framework, something every week that you can practically use and implement into your life. And then check out my socials below as well for more. So I'll see you in the new year.